Commander Lyra Voss stood at the observation deck of the starship Aurora, her eyes scanning the alien horizon. The planet below was a rough, jagged world, scarred by centuries of war. Jagged cliffs rose like the teeth of some sleeping beast, and the thin air shimmered with the heat of a twin sun. She could see distant smoke columns from destroyed settlements, evidence of the Zephyrians' relentless attacks. Lyra had seen many worlds fall to war. She had negotiated peace between species who could not even speak each other's language, and she had fought in skirmishes that spanned entire star systems. Yet she felt a weight pressing on her chest, a sense that something had changed in the galaxy. Humans, once famed as the galaxy's fiercest warriors, were absent. They had withdrawn from interstellar politics decades ago, leaving other races to fight and survive. "They say humans have no more warriors," she murmured to herself. Her voice echoed in the empty observation deck. She hated believing it. Humanity had always been different, bold, unpredictable, unyielding. Yet now, all she saw were legends. Stories told to children about a distant Earth that once shaped the course of the galaxy. Her communicator beeped sharply, pulling her attention. "Commander Voss, incoming vessel." "Unknown signature," said Lieutenant Mara, her voice tense. Lyra's hand instinctively went to the rail. She had learned to trust her instincts, and her instincts told her this was no ordinary ship. The readings were unusual, small, fast, almost impossible to track. And yet, it moved with purpose. "Patch it through," Lyra commanded. A distorted voice came over the calm and steady. "Commander Lyra Voss." "It's been a long time," Lyra froze. The voice was familiar, though she could not place it immediately. She frowned, a shiver running down her spine. "Who is this?" she asked cautiously. "Someone who remembers," the voice said simply. Before Lyra could respond, the ship descended from orbit. It was small, sleek, and unlike any human craft she had ever seen, yet there was something unmistakably Earth-like about it. The metal gleamed under the twin suns, and its movements were precise, calculated, as if it were alive. "Prepare for landing," Lyra ordered, her heart racing. She had believed humanity had disappeared from the galaxy's stage, yet here was proof that the legends were not lies. Someone from Earth had returned. The vessel touched down gracefully, kicking up clouds of dust and debris. A ramp descended, and a figure emerged. Clad in a suit of matte black armor with subtle Earth insignias, the human moved with confidence and strength. Lyra's pulse quickened. The human walked toward her, every step purposeful, like a predator assessing its surroundings. And then, finally, he spoke again. "Lyra Voss," he said, voice firm, commanding. "It's time." The name struck her like a lightning bolt. Her breath caught. She had not heard that name in years, not since the old wars, when humans had fought side by side with aliens to defend the galaxy. Memories she had tried to forget came flooding back, battles in the void. Comrades lost and gained, victories won against impossible odds. You know my name," Lyra said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I know more than your name." The human replied, his eyes scanning the horizon. They were piercing, intelligent, and full of purpose. "I've been looking for you." Lyra's mind raced. Why would a human seek her now, in this forgotten corner of the galaxy? She had thought Earth had given up on war, given up on the galaxy. Yet here he was proof that the human spirit still existed. "Who are you?" she demanded, though a part of her already knew. "Captain Cale Arden," he said simply. "I've been waiting for the right moment to return. The galaxy needs us." "Needs you." Lyra studied him carefully. There was something different about Cale, something more than the armor and weapons he carried. It was his presence, the aura of someone who had survived impossible odds, someone who carried hope with him like a shield. "And why now?" she asked. "Why appear after all these years?" Cale's eyes met hers, unwavering. "Because the Xiphians are rising again. They've grown stronger, faster, more ruthless. Entire colonies are falling. I've been preparing, waiting, for someone who can help unite the galaxy against them." Lyra's thoughts drifted to the scattered alliances she had tried to maintain. The alien races were tired, weary of fighting. They had grown complacent without humans. Many believed humanity had vanished. She had believed it too. But Kale's arrival shattered that belief. Here was proof that Earth had not lost its warriors, that humans had not lost their courage. And somehow, Lyra felt a spark of hope, the kind she had not felt in decades. "Show me," she said finally. "Show me you are more than stories." Kale nodded. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small device. With a flick, holographic simulations of battles filled the air. He demonstrated the strategies humans had developed, the training they had undergone, the technology they had secretly built to fight the Zypherians. Lyra watched, mesmerized. Every tactic, every maneuver, spoke of ingenuity, courage, and adaptability qualities that had once defined Earth's warriors. The humans had not just survived. They had prepared for this moment. "This is impressive," Lyra admitted, her voice tinged with awe. "But why didn't anyone know? Why hide?" Kale's gaze softened. "Because the galaxy was not ready? Humans are feared when they appear unannounced. They are unpredictable, unstoppable, and sometimes misunderstood. I chose to wait until the time was right. And that time is now." Lyra nodded slowly, understanding dawning. She had always believed in the strength of humans, but seeing it firsthand was different. This was not just skill. It was spirit, determination, and an unshakable will to protect what was right. "We need allies," she said. "We cannot fight the Zypherians alone." Kale smiled faintly. "And we will not. But we need someone to unite them. Someone they will listen to. That's why I came for you." Lyra felt a surge of emotion. Fear, hope, excitement, and doubt all collided inside her. She had faced impossible odds before, but this felt different. This was bigger than one planet, bigger than one battle. This was about the fate of the galaxy. "Then we start now," she said, her voice steady. "Tell me what we do first." Kale handed her a small datapad filled with information about Zypherian fleets, weak points, and potential allies. Lyra studied it carefully. Every detail was precise, every plan thought through. This was not a reckless human adventurer. This was a warrior who understood the stakes. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting the jagged landscape in red and gold, Lyra felt something she had not felt in years: anticipation. A sense that humanity had returned, and with it, a chance to fight for what was right. The distant rumble of Zypherian ships echoed through the atmosphere. The war was coming, and now, for the first time in decades, Lyra did not feel alone. A human warrior had arrived, and with him, the galaxy might stand a chance. As night fell over the scarred world, Lyra turned to Kale and said softly, "I thought Earth had no more warriors, but I see now I was wrong." Kale's gaze met hers, resolute, "And we will prove it. Together." The first step of their journey had begun an alliance that would reignite hope, courage, and the human spirit in a galaxy that had almost forgotten it. The twin suns had just risen over the jagged cliffs of the remote planet when Commander Lyra Voss followed Captain Kale Arden toward his sleek black ship. The morning air was sharp and filled with the scent of burning metal from the distant skirmishes. Lyra could feel the tension in every movement of the crew around her. Aliens of many races some she had allied with before. Others she had never met watched Kale carefully, their expressions wary. Kale moved like a shadow, silent but commanding. Every step he took seemed measured, yet full of purpose. Lyra watched him, noting the confidence in his posture, the ease with which he handled the alien observers. It was not arrogance. It was certainty born of experience. "Stay close," Kale said to Lyra. "You'll want to see this." He pressed a button on the side of his ship, and a panel slid open. Inside was a training area unlike anything Lyra had seen. Small drones hovered, scanning the environment. Weapons and devices, mostly human-made, lined the walls, each marked with precise functions. Before Lyra could ask, Kale tapped a console, and a drone emerged, buzzing like a small metallic insect. It darted toward a nearby rock, then suddenly transformed into a combat bot, its arms swinging with lethal accuracy. Kale moved before Lyra could blink, disarming the bot with fluid precision, then sending it spinning away harmlessly. Lyra's eyes widened. That was incredible. How did you... Kale smiled faintly. Years of training. Humans adapt quickly. We learn from everything around us, mistakes, environment, even our enemies. That's why we survive, Lyra nodded slowly. She had fought many battles, led many missions, but Kale's demonstration was unlike anything she had witnessed. There was a human quality to it, unpredictability combined with strategy, instinct combined with careful planning. It was why Earth's warriors had been legendary. He moved to another console and activated a holographic map of nearby systems. Red blips marked Zypherian fleets, green blips marked human outposts, and yellow ones indicated neutral colonies. This, Kale said, pointing to the red blips, is where the Zypherians have been growing. Entire colonies wiped out before anyone could even respond. They move fast, they strike hard, and they leave nothing behind. Lyra's stomach tightened. She had faced the Zypherians before, but this was different. Their numbers had grown and they were smarter, adapting to conventional strategies faster than she had seen. And these humans, you've been training them in secret? Lyra asked, her eyes scanning the hologram. Kale nodded. A small strike force. We've been scattered. It's operating in shadows, preparing, waiting for the right moment to show the galaxy that Earth still has warriors. Lyra felt a spark of hope ignite in her chest. The humans had not abandoned the galaxy they had been watching, learning, preparing. She realized that the legends she had doubted were true. Humans were not just fighters. They were leaders, teachers, and warriors who inspired others to fight alongside them. Kale turned to her, his eyes steady. I came to find you because you are key to this. You have experience? You understand diplomacy, strategy, and war. The galaxy has been fractured for too long. We need someone who can unite everyone, humans and aliens alike. Lyra felt the weight of his words. She had always believed in the power of unity, but she had doubted whether it could be achieved. Now, with Kale standing before her, she began to see a possibility she had thought lost forever. Show me what you can do in battle, Lyra said finally. I need to see this for myself. Kale smiled faintly, almost like a challenge. Follow me. They stepped into his ship, which was far smaller and faster than the Aurora. It hummed with power, responding instantly to Kale's touch. As they lifted off, Lyra could see the Zypherian scouts approaching the planet's surface. Red streaks of light from their weapons cut through the morning air, aimed at human settlements. Kale's eyes narrowed. We don't have time. Lyra watched as he piloted the ship with incredible skill. The craft dodged laser blasts, twisting and turning through the narrow canyons. Then Kale unleashed the ship's weapons non-lethal, energy pulses that disabled the Zypherian drones without destroying the planet below. Each move was precise, each strike calculated. Lyra felt awe and relief in equal measure. You make it look easy, she said. Kale glanced at her. Easy is preparation. You train, you plan, you anticipate, and you fight like your life and the lives of everyone you protect depend on it. Because they do. The ship landed near a small settlement that had been targeted by the Zypherians. Kale and Lyra stepped out, and the villagers, humans and aliens alike, looked at Kale with awe. It was as if he carried hope with him, promise that someone had come to protect them. Kale led them into the center of the village. We are here to help, he said, his voice firm but calm. You are not alone. The villagers' expressions changed from fear to determination. Lyra realized that humans did not just fight, they inspired others to fight as well. Even aliens, weary from centuries of war, felt courage rising within them. Lyra followed Kale through the village as he assessed damage, organized defenses, and trained volunteers in basic combat techniques. Every move he made was efficient, every instruction clear. Yet there was a warmth in his approach, respect for life and intelligence that made everyone listen. By the end of the day, the village was ready. Human volunteers patrolled the outskirts. Alien allies took positions on higher ground, and Kale oversaw everything, moving seamlessly from strategy to action as night fell. Lyra and Kale stood atop a ridge overlooking the village. The stars were bright, and the twin moons reflected light across the barren landscape. "You're more than the stories," Lyra said softly. "The galaxy hasn't forgotten Earth, but I didn't realize. Humans had been preparing this long." Kale smiled, though tiredness shadowed his face. "Preparation is everything. We can't act too early, or the galaxy won't understand our strength. But now, it's time. The Zypherians are growing bolder. We need to show them what humanity can do." Lyra nodded, a sense of purpose settling over her. She had doubted humans, had believed their warrior spirit was gone. But Kale had reminded her of something essential. Courage does not fade. It only waits for the right moment to rise again. The first battle had been small, but it had already shown Lyra the truth. Humans were not just fighters. They were a force that could unite, inspire, and protect. And with Kale leading them, there was a chance the galaxy might stand a chance against the Zypherians. Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. "Tomorrow, we begin the larger mission. We'll gather allies, build our forces, and strike at the heart of the Zypherians. But tonight, rest. You'll need your strength." Lyra watched him walk away, the light from the moons casting a long shadow across the ridge. She felt hope like a fire in her chest. For the first time in years, she believed that the galaxy had a chance. Not just because of strategy or weapons, but because of the human spirit resilient, courageous, and unbroken. As she looked at the stars, she whispered quietly, almost to herself, "Earth has warriors, and they are returning." The distant rumble of Zypherian ships in orbit reminded her that the war was far from over. But for the first time, she did not feel fear. She felt ready. With Kale Arden leading the human strike force, and with herself guiding the alien allies, the galaxy might finally see what humanity was truly capable of. And deep inside, Lyra knew this was only the beginning. The first light of dawn painted the jagged cliffs in shades of red and gold. Commander Lyra Voss stood at the edge of the village, looking out at the horizon. Smoke still curled in the distance from the previous skirmish, but the air felt different this morning, charged with energy, hope, and purpose. Beside her, Captain Kale Arden was giving final instructions to the human volunteers and alien allies gathered in the clearing. Humans and aliens worked side by side, moving supplies, setting up communication arrays, and fortifying positions. The sound of footsteps, the hum of engines, and the voices of soldiers filled the air. Lyra could feel the shift. The village, once trembling in fear, now stood ready. Kale turned to Lyra. "The Zypherians are advancing faster than we expected. Their scouts have been probing other colonies, looking for weaknesses. Today, we take the first step to stop them." Lyra nodded, gripping her communicator tightly. "What's our plan?" Kale pointed to the holographic map displayed in the center of the clearing. Red blips moved in calculated patterns across several nearby systems. "We hit them where they least expect us. We use the terrain, human tactics, and the element of surprise. Our goal isn't just to fight, it's to show the galaxy that humans are back." The volunteers listened intently as Kale explained the strategy. His voice was steady, commanding, yet encouraging. Humans absorbed the information quickly, while the aliens watched with curiosity and respect. Lyra noticed how even the most skeptical of alien commanders were beginning to believe. "We'll split into 3 units, Kale continued. "Unit Alpha will create diversions along the northern ridge. Unit Beta will secure the main supply route. Unit Gamma, led by me, will strike directly at their command point. Timing is everything. Communication must be constant. No mistakes." Lyra glanced at him, impressed by his clarity. "And the humans?" Kale's eyes shone with pride. "They will lead the way. They adapt faster than any species I've seen. They think creatively, move unpredictably, and inspire courage in others. Watch closely. This is why humans are warriors." The first unit moved out quietly, disappearing into the canyon's shadows. Lyra and Kale followed the second group along the rugged terrain, using natural cover to avoid detection. Every step was careful, measured, yet every movement carried the energy of determination. Suddenly, a warning beeped from Kale's wrist communicator. "Zypherian patrols ahead," he said calmly. "We need to act." He crouched behind a rock formation, gesturing for Lyra and the others to do the same. Within moments, Kale deployed small handheld devices that emitted pulses, disrupting the patrol's communication and navigation systems. The Zypherians stumbled, confused, and Kale signaled the human volunteers. They moved swiftly, disabling enemy units without killing them. Kale believed in precision, in controlling the battle, not causing unnecessary destruction. Lyra watched in awe as the humans adapted to unexpected changes. A patrol moved in a pattern not predicted, and a human volunteer adjusted the devices to redirect the patrol's path. The aliens, observing the operation, whispered among themselves. They had never seen such coordination, such flexibility, such courage. It was a human quality, unlike anything the galaxy had witnessed in years. "See," Kale said softly to Lyra. "This is what humans do best. We create, we adapt, we lead. Fear doesn't stop us. It only teaches us." Lyra's respect for him deepened. The stories she had heard about Earth's warriors were nothing compared to witnessing them in action. Humans were not just fighters, they were leaders, innovators, and symbols of hope. The second unit reached the supply route, encountering a Zypherian patrol larger than expected. Kale assessed the situation and nodded toward Lyra. Time to inspire. Lyra drew her sidearm and activated her communicator, sending a signal to every volunteer. She could see the fear in some eyes, hesitation in others, but Kale's presence beside her bolstered their courage. With a firm tone, she issued commands, guiding humans and aliens alike. The battle unfolded with precision. Kale and his team moved like shadows, striking at weak points, disarming and redirecting the Zypherians without unnecessary bloodshed. The humans demonstrated ingenuity at every turn, using the terrain, creating diversions, and improvising traps that left their enemies confused and disoriented. From a nearby ridge, Lyra watched the human volunteers' courage inspire the aliens around them. Hesitant soldiers who had once doubted humanity now followed their lead, executing strategies with confidence. Even in the face of danger, the humans moved forward, fearless and determined. Hours passed, and the Zypherians were pushed back. The humans had demonstrated not just skill, but unwavering determination. Lyra could see the change in the aliens' expressions: respect, awe, and a renewed sense of purpose. Kale finally called a halt to the operation. The units regrouped, and Lyra took a moment to survey the battlefield. Small fires burned where equipment had been damaged, but the larger picture was clear. The humans had turned the tide. The Zypherians were retreating, at least temporarily, and the village was safe. "You see," Kale said quietly, standing beside her, "it's not about numbers. It's about spirit, strategy, courage. Humans may be few, but we are enough to inspire others to fight." Lyra nodded, feeling hope rise within her. She realized that humans were not just warriors, they were catalysts. Their presence, their courage, and their leadership could reignite the fighting spirit of entire civilizations. As night fell, the group returned to the village. Humans and aliens shared stories, repaired equipment, and prepared for the next challenge. Lyra walked alongside Kale, feeling the weight of what they had accomplished. "You've changed everything," she said softly. Kale shook his head. "We didn't change anything. We reminded the galaxy of what humans have always been capable of. The Zypherians didn't expect us, and that gave us an advantage. But the work isn't done. This is just the beginning." Lyra looked at the stars, thinking of the many worlds at risk, the countless lives threatened by Zypherian attacks. The humans' return was more than a battle, it was a symbol. The galaxy needed to see this, Lyra said. "We need to show them that humans are more than stories, that courage exists, even in the darkest times." Kale smiled, a rare warmth in his eyes. "Exactly. And together, we can do it. But first, we strengthen our allies, train them, and prove that hope is stronger than fear." In the quiet of the night, Lyra reflected on the day's events. She had doubted humanity, assumed their warrior spirit was gone. But Kale and his team had reminded her of the truth. Humans adapt, fight, and inspire. They were more than soldiers, they were symbols of hope. Tomorrow would bring new battles, new challenges, and new tests of courage. But tonight, the village slept a little safer. The humans had shown the galaxy that they had returned, that they were ready, that their spirit could not be broken. Lyra felt a sense of purpose she had not felt in years. The Zypherians would come again, stronger, smarter, more relentless. But with humans leading the way, she knew the galaxy had a chance. The spark of hope had been lit, and it would grow into a flame that no enemy could extinguish. As she gazed at the horizon, she whispered quietly to herself, "Earth's warriors are back, and the galaxy will remember." The wind carried the sound across the cliffs, over the valley, and into the distant stars. The first battle had been small, but it had set the stage. A larger war was coming, and when it did, humans would be ready. Lyra knew one thing for certain. With Kale Arden leading, the galaxy was no longer alone. The return of Earth's warriors had begun. The skies above the rugged planet glowed with a dull orange light as the twin suns rose once again. Commander Lyra Voss stood at the top of the ridge overlooking the valley below. Smoke from small fires drifted lazily into the morning air, remnants of the previous day's skirmishes. Yet the atmosphere was different now. It was a pulse of energy, a sense that something greater was about to unfold. Beside her, Captain Kale Arden reviewed the battle plans for the day. His calm demeanor never wavered, even as his eyes scanned the holographic map of enemy positions. "The Zypherians have regrouped," he said. "They're testing defenses, probing for weaknesses. Today, we strike at the heart of their operation." Lyra studied the map carefully. Red blips marked Zypherian bases, supply lines, and patrols. Humans, though small in number, had taken strategic positions to maximize efficiency. Alien allies were positioned to support the strike. Every unit, every soldier, had a purpose. It was a plan born of experience, preparation, and the human understanding of strategy. Kale turned to her. "We divide into 3 teams again. Alpha will draw them out along the northern canyon. Beta will secure the main route and protect civilians. Gamma team will target their command hub. Timing and precision are everything." Lyra nodded. She had seen the effectiveness of Kale's tactics in previous skirmishes. Humans had an instinct for turning impossible situations into victories, but this mission was larger, riskier, and would test every skill they had honed. As the teams moved out, Lyra and Kale's ship flew low over the valley, a silent shadow above the terrain. Kale's fingers danced across the controls with precision, guiding the craft between jagged cliffs and over hidden ridges. Below, the teams moved with calculated speed, hiding from enemy sensors and preparing to strike. Suddenly, Kale's communicator beeped urgently. "Zypherian patrols ahead," he said. "They're more alert than we expected. We'll need to adapt." Lyra watched as Kale deployed a series of devices that emitted pulses, temporarily disabling the patrol sensors. The humans moved forward, striking with precision. One team used grappling hooks to climb high cliffs, creating vantage points that the Zypherians had not anticipated. Another set of volunteers redirected energy fields, confusing the enemy's navigation systems. Lyra felt awe as she observed the human volunteers. Each move was creative, unexpected, and perfectly executed. Kale's leadership inspired not only humans but alien allies as well. Hesitant soldiers who had doubted humanity now followed their lead, executing complex strategies with confidence. Hours passed as the teams worked in harmony. The Zypherians, though numerous, were confused and disoriented. Their attempts to regroup were met with counter-strategies that the humans adapted in real time. Lyra realized that this was more than combat skill. It was human ingenuity in action. As the sun reached its peak, Kale's team approached the Zypherians' command hub. The structure was massive, metallic, and heavily guarded. Yet Kale moved with calm precision, coordinating his team through hand signals and low-frequency communications. Lyra followed closely, her heart pounding. She had led many missions, but the intensity of this operation was unlike anything she had experienced. Every step was dangerous, every decision critical. Suddenly an ambush. Zypherian guards emerged from hidden tunnels, surrounding Kale's team. In an instant, Kale assessed the situation and acted. He threw a small device that emitted a blinding flash, disorienting the guards. Humans and alien allies struck simultaneously, disabling the enemy without lethal force whenever possible. Lyra joined the fray, coordinating defenses and guiding volunteers. The battlefield was chaotic, but Kale's calm presence allowed them to adapt. They moved like a single organism, humans and aliens working in perfect synchrony. Minutes felt like hours, but eventually, the team secured the command hub. Kale and Lyra entered the central chamber where the Zypherian leader awaited. The alien was imposing, armored, and fierce. Yet Kale approached without hesitation. "You will stop your attacks on the colonies," Kale said firmly. "We are here to protect the galaxy, and we will not back down." The Zypherian leader laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the chamber. "You are only one species, human. You cannot stop us." Kale's eyes narrowed. "I am not alone. Humans and our allies are here, and together, we are stronger than you can imagine." The leader lunged, but Kale moved with lightning speed, deflecting attacks and using precise strikes to disable weapons. Lyra joined him, using her skills to neutralize the guards. The chamber became a whirlwind of movement, strategy, and courage. In the end, the Zypherian leader was subdued. Kale and Lyra secured the facility, sending out a signal to all nearby colonies. "The humans have returned," the message stated, "and the galaxy will fight back." Outside, Lyra watched as human volunteers and alien allies celebrated their victory. The Zypherians had been pushed back, at least for now, and hope was alive once more. She felt pride, not only for the humans, but for herself. She had believed in diplomacy and strategy, but witnessing humans in action reminded her of something vital. Courage, determination, and leadership could change the course of history. Kale approached her, his expression calm yet satisfied. "This is the turning point," he said. "The Zypherians underestimated us. They thought humans were gone. Now they know the truth." Lyra nodded. "And the galaxy will see what humans are capable of." As night fell, the teams regrouped in the village. Fires burned warmly, and the sounds of conversation and laughter filled the air. Humans shared stories of their training, their past missions, and the sacrifices they had made. Alien allies listened, inspired by the bravery and ingenuity displayed before them. Lyra walked alongside Kale, feeling the weight of their accomplishment. "You've shown the galaxy that humans are more than warriors," she said softly. "We are symbols of hope." Kale's gaze softened. "Hope is powerful, but action gives it life. We inspire others, not just by words, but by what we do. Today we've shown them that courage matters more than fear." The humans had adapted, improvised, and led with courage. Every movement had been calculated, yet flexible, demonstrating the unique qualities of Earth's warriors. She realized that the Zypherians were not just enemies. They were a test, a measure of what humans and their allies could accomplish when united. The next challenge would be even greater. The Zypherians would regroup, strengthen, and return with more forces. But Lyra no longer felt fear. She had seen the power of humans firsthand, and she knew that with Kale leading the charge, the galaxy had a chance to fight back and win. As the twin moons rose over the cliffs, Era whispered quietly, "Earth's warriors are back, and the galaxy will never forget." Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. "Tomorrow, we prepare for the next stage. The Zypherians won't stop, but neither will we. The galaxy will stand with us." Lyra watched him walk away, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. She had doubted humanity, thought their warrior spirit had faded, but Kale and his team had proven her wrong. Humans were more than fighters. They were leaders, innovators, and beacons of hope. The turning point had come. Zypherians had underestimated. Humans and the galaxy had witnessed the rise of Earth's warriors once more. And this was only the beginning. The galaxy was awake with tension. Star systems on the edge of the known worlds buzzed with the news of the humans' return. Commander Lyra Voss stood on the deck of Kale Arden's flagship Sentinel, staring into the expanse of stars. Countless. Zephyrian ships were moving through the void, their dark silhouettes forming an ominous armada. This would be the final confrontation, the battle that would decide the fate of the colonies and the future of the galaxy. Kale stood beside her, his eyes calm yet burning with determination. "This is it, Lyra," he said. "Everything we've trained for, prepared for, has led to this moment. Today, the Zephyrians learned that humans are not gone. We are here, and we will fight." Lyra nodded. She had witnessed humans in small battles, in guerrilla operations, and in daring strikes against impossible odds. But this was a war unlike any other. The stakes were higher, the forces larger, and the pressure immense. And yet she did not feel fear. With humans leading the charge, hope had returned. The fleet moved forward in perfect formation. Humans piloted sleek ships with extraordinary maneuverability. Alien allies manned larger craft with heavy weapons. And Kale coordinated the entire armada with a precision that seemed almost instinctual. Every ship had a purpose. Every captain understood their role. "Remember?" Kale said over the comms, addressing the entire fleet. "The Zephyrians are strong, but they are predictable. They underestimate courage, creativity, and unity. Humans fight not just with strength, but with heart. Today we show them the meaning of that spirit." The first wave of Zephyrian ships fired energy blasts across the void. The humans and their allies responded immediately, using tactics that combined speed, strategy, and ingenuity. Kale's small human pilots weaved between enemy fire, creating openings for the larger ships to strike. Lyra watched as human ingenuity shone. One pilot, using a small drone, hacked into the Zephyrian fleet's navigation systems, causing confusion and preventing coordinated attacks. Another unit deployed energy shields in unexpected positions, protecting vulnerable ships from destruction. The Zephyrian leader, aboard a massive command vessel, watched with growing frustration. "Humans, they should be weak. How can one species command so much?" he demanded to his officers. "They are different, my lord," replied a lieutenant. "Their strength is not only in their ships or weapons, it is in their courage, their unpredictability, and their ability to inspire others." Kale's voice rang clear over the fleet's comms. "Focus on the weak points. Protect civilians. Fight with courage and fight together." Lyra's heart swelled as she saw humans leading not just with force, but with inspiration. Alien ships followed their example, moving with confidence and coordination. What had once been fear and hesitation transformed into courage and unity. The battle raged for hours. Energy blasts lit the dark void, and the hum of engines and shields filled the silence of space. Kale piloted his ship with unmatched precision, striking at key Zephyrian vessels, while coordinating smaller teams to protect civilians and disrupt enemy formations. Lyra led a squadron of alien ships, using her strategic expertise to cover critical points and ensure that human pilots could focus on offensive maneuvers. Every decision mattered. Every action could tip the balance. During a critical moment, Kale's flagship faced the Zephyrian command vessel directly. Their weapons locked, and the tension in the void was almost tangible. Lyra could see the determination on Kale's face. He had prepared for this, trained for this, and now he would act. He deployed a series of human-engineered drones that infiltrated the enemy ship's core systems, disabling shields and communication. With careful precision, the human pilots struck at weak points. The command vessel began to falter. The Zephyrian leader roared in frustration. "Impossible. Humans cannot win." Kale's voice came over the comms, calm and unwavering. "Humans fight not just to win, but to protect. Courage, unity, and heart are stronger than your fear and power. This is what you cannot defeat." Lyra watched as the Zephyrian fleet wavered, confusion spreading among their ranks. The humans' adaptability and creativity had turned the tide. Alien allies, inspired by human courage, pressed forward with renewed determination. Finally, Kale's flagship delivered a decisive strike to the Zephyrian command vessel. The enemy flagship erupted in controlled energy bursts, disabling it without unnecessary destruction to surrounding ships. The remaining Zypherian forces, demoralized and leaderless, began to retreat. Lyra allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy had witnessed the return of humans not just as fighters, but as leaders, protectors, and symbols of hope. The fleet regrouped, and Kale addressed the Allied forces. Today, we have not just fought, we have shown the galaxy what courage means. Humans are back, and together we will protect every world, every life, and every hope that remains. Lyra felt pride swell in her chest. She had doubted humanity, had thought their warrior spirit was gone. But she had been wrong. Humans had returned, and they had reminded the galaxy that courage and unity could overcome even the darkest forces. In the aftermath, colonies across the galaxy celebrated. Humans and alien allies rebuilt settlements, restored communication networks, and provided aid to those affected by Zypherian attacks. Stories of human bravery spread, inspiring hope in civilizations that had long been resigned to fear. Kale and Lyra stood together on the bridge of the Sentinel, watching fleets return from the battle. The stars twinkled above, a reminder of the vast galaxy they had protected. "You've done it," Lyra said softly. "You've reminded the galaxy what humans are capable of." Kale shook his head. "We didn't just remind them, we inspired them. Humans are not just warriors. They're hope, leadership, and courage. And that is what will carry the galaxy forward." Lyra smiled. "The Zypherians underestimated us. Now every species in the galaxy will remember Earth." Kale looked out at the stars. "Our work isn't over. We'll continue training, preparing, and protecting. But for today, we celebrate. The galaxy has seen the legacy of Earth's warriors, and it will never forget." As they left the bridge, Lyra reflected on the journey. Humans had returned not by chance, but through preparation, courage, and determination. They had inspired allies, defended the innocent, and turned the tide of war. The human spirit, creative and unyielding, had reignited hope across the stars. The galaxy had been reminded that strength was not just in weapons or numbers, but in courage, unity, and the determination to protect what was right. In the quiet of the night, as the twin moons reflected light across distant planets, Lyra whispered to herself, "Earth's warriors are back, and their legacy will guide the galaxy forever." Kale joined her, standing side by side, looking at the vast expanse of stars. "We fought not just for victory," he said. "We fought to show that courage matters, that hope matters, and that no force, no matter how powerful, can take away the human spirit." Lyra nodded. "Together we will continue to protect the galaxy. Humanity's return has only just begun." The stars shimmered as if in agreement, and a new era began. Humans, once thought to have withdrawn from the galaxy, had returned as warriors, leaders, and symbols of hope. Their courage inspired aliens, and humans alike, and their legacy would endure through generations. The Zypherians had been defeated, but more importantly, the galaxy had witnessed the spirit of Earth's warriors. And from that day forward, humans were no longer just stories, they were legends. Protectors, and a guiding light in the dark reaches of space. As Lyra watched Kale and the human forces prepare for the next mission, she felt a certainty she had not known before. The galaxy was no longer alone. Humans had returned, and with them, the courage, determination, and hope that could never be extinguished. And so, under the glow of twin moons and the endless stars, the final battle had ended, not just with victory, but with the promise of a future where humans and their allies would continue to stand for justice, courage, and hope across the galaxy. The legacy of Earth's warriors had begun anew.